Okay. Hi. Hi. So I was going to start a painting video, a studio mate in another state video where we just paint together, just have quiet space and community and just work on a project. But I need to focus. I'm having a very hard time focusing because of the inundation of news. I'm very excited about the social change and the protests that are going on and how the positive effects this is having on our country, or could, and that mixed in with all the other factors that are going on right now in our country's upheaval is a little overwhelming. So I decided to do this instead. Focus on a quiet space and the community that I would love to live in, and I hope one day we all can, where we hear each other, we understand each other, or we try, and we do our best to support one another so we become better. Everyone becomes better people and has a better value system than what we've had. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. I want to start this. This is an illustration I did a while ago. It was just out of fun. I wanted to line up some of the characters. This is going to be a little detailed, and it might be difficult, and I haven't planned it out again. So I do it all the time. You just kind of turn on the camera and get to work. So let's grab some scrap paper, and we'll just do our best. How's that? We will just do our best. And we're going to start by making the background, which is just a bush. And let's see if you can, how's this camera angle picking it up? The bush is just squiggly lines. That's it, just squiggly lines. And then we divide up this large shape of squiggly lines with smaller shapes of squiggly lines. I realize this particular project might take 3 videos instead of 2, but at least we get to work together. Okay, where do I want this other squiggly line? Maybe we'll have this one actually come out that way instead. You do whatever you want, you do whatever you feel, it doesn't matter. It is just a fun project to help our hearts. Let's draw, there's my squiggly lines. Let's draw the outside of the bush. This will be the backdrop. Remember, you can lay your Sharpie sideways. Ooh, don't forget, you need something underneath so it doesn't bleed through to your tabletop or desk. You can lay the pen sideways. You can have it standing up. It does not matter. See how I'm doing this? Just really fast. I'm not thinking about it. Not thinking too much. Splitting them up. Okay. Just a bunch of squiggly lines. If it looks familiar, it might be because I learned how to, I got this idea from Bugs Bunny cartoons. I'm taking my small Sharpie, my skinny Sharpie that I got at the dollar store, and more squiggly lines. Again, not thinking about it, just drawing squigglies. They're just a little bit of a mess, a little bit of chaos, because that's what bushes are, that's what trees are. And we're not going to cut this bush out today, so you can have your squiggly lines going up and all over, just like that. Squiggly, squiggly. Okay. we're going to take our Sharpie and just draw lines like that. Once we're done with all the squigglies, just drawing lines. Not in any particular manner, not in any particular direction, not in any particular thinness or thickness. We're just drawing. We're not thinking about it. There, see, my lines are going into the next part of the bush, and it's okay. Just draw, don't think. Turn your head off and just go. Okay. I'm taking all the feelings and all the scary energy I have in my heart and using it to draw lines and squigglies, so I can hopefully clear my head and be able to focus on painting in a little bit. Okay? No rhyme or reason, just doing. Actually, this is going to be covered by our characters in a little bit, so it doesn't really matter. See? That's it. You can draw more squiggly lines if you like. You can draw less. We might actually make some leaves for the background. But right now, let's get into making our characters, and let's hope this goes well. Just for me, I'm going to take this piece of paper and fold it in half so I have more control over the size of the characters that I'm going to draw. You can do whatever you like, but this is going to remind me they can only be so big. We're going to draw the top few characters and Jack on the side. Okay? This is what we're going to start with. Joel, Dixie, Jack. Joel is going to start off. Whoop. Joel is going to start off like an egg. But I drew it in the wrong direction. I actually want his egg head to point down this way and give enough room for ears at the top of the page, right up here. So he's got a little bit of an egg head. That's the angle his head will be at. I'm going to draw Dixie looking at Joel, so I put a line in so I know the angle of his eyes and his beaks. And he's just he's just one big circle. Okay? So we've got Joel and Dixie. Now we'll have Jack. Jack is a bit, woo! I'm not going to have enough room for his ears if I do that. I'm going to put Jack's head just down a little bit lower than Dixie's, I think, so I have enough room for his ears on top. Okay? So he's facing downward, and he once again is an egg shape. There's an ear and another ear. Dixie's facing this way. He's just a circle, and Joel is an egg shape. I think I want to, yeah, I'm going to go like that. Let's do a little bit of their bodies, but they're going to be primarily covered by the other characters, so we're not going to worry too much. But Joel would be, where is he? I don't think I have any reference material for Joel. But Joel would be almost a C. Like that. A C. But he's going to have his arm around Dixie. And we're going to just draw Remember, these shapes might change. They might get smaller, so we're not going to worry too much about the size or where they are. We're really not. We're just going to draw. So Joel is going to have his arm around Dixie. That would be his arm, her shoulder, and his little hand will go there. Dixie's body is a circle. Oh, actually, I think I just helped myself. I forgot something. Joel has a tail. But anyway, there's the circle below Dixie, because he's just two circles. That's his whole body. Pardon me. Pardon me. Joel has a tail. His tail is going to be like a backward S. There it is. Backward S coming off. That's going to be fuzzy. But we're going to worry about that in a little bit. We're not going to worry about it right now. We can add, let's see. You know what we can do? We're probably not going to see much of this. We can draw his other shoulder coming down. Coming down like this. There's his left shoulder, so his right shoulder coming down, his arm. And we can put his other hand, his other paw, right there in what would be his knee. In his knee. It's going to be like the letter N, the lowercase letter N, but without the sticky outy thing. So there's his knee. Whoop, whoop. A horseshoe. And a oval for his hand. Let's start drawing their faces. Joel has 2 ears. I should have started with his eye. Joel has 2 ears, and we can always reposition them. We're not going to worry about them. His eye is going to be below that line. So he's kind of looking up at Dixie, okay? He's kind of looking up. He does wear a hat, which will be a circle. And it would sit right about there. A little bit higher than our line, covering that ear. Jumped ahead on the ears. I apologize. And his face is going to go like this. He has a line coming down to his nose. And his nose. So he has a line. That's where his eye is. And then another line coming down to his nose. His little nose like that. A little convoluted. And his cheek. So we've got a line for his eye, a line coming down to his nose, and then just his cheek. Okay. Let's move on to Dixie. Oh, we forgot his eyeglasses, or I did anyway. So his eyeglasses are just a little line with 2 ovals coming off of it. He periodically wears glasses that look like old man glasses. But Dixie is an adventurer. Joel is an adventurer. He's seen the world. There's Dixie's eye. It's going to be just below that line and a little towards the front of his face. Then Dixie wears glasses as well. And now it's just going to be a circle around the eye. Okay. And then the part that holds them on. So that's the arm of the eyeglass. That's our original line. There's the arm for the eyeglass. We're going to draw his beak. And his beak is going to start just above his eye. That way. Line down that way. They're just his beak is just 2 triangles. Excuse me. And he's talking, so his mouth is going to be open. Let me do this. It's literally just 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 lines making 2 triangles. And then he's got that swoopy thing on the front of his face that comes up, just like that. Okay? Up like that. And his body, like I said, is just another circle. There would be a tail coming up, just like that. Okay? And he does have a wing. We're not going to worry about placing it too much. You know, having it out like he's talking. Because these guys are in the background. Okay? So that's what we've got for Joel. Now let's move on to Jack. Jack is looking down, so his eye is going to be kind of right in the center of the egg and to the side of our main line. We're not going to draw the other eyeball. We're going to do what we did with Joel. Draw a line down this way for his forehead, his eye socket. Whoop. Whoop. And his nose. So forehead, eye socket, coming down to his nose. Jawline. Jawline. He's a little pissed today, and I'm not sure why. He's angry, but they haven't excluded him from the picture. So just a line that way. That tells us he's upset. He's angry today, for whatever reason, but he's still a part of things. Always is, when he wants to be. Then a line down, and his paw. We're going to make another line there, just above his paw. That's where the sweatshirt sleeve would end, because he's always wearing his red sweatshirt. Okay, let's move on to the next guys. We've got this. We've got these fellas. Now let's move on to the next line, and let's keep our fingers crossed. See how this goes. And I'm putting this on top of the bush so I remember, and our other figures so I remember how large or small I want them to be. So we're going to draw Max, who's got his head tilted up. It's another egg shape. You see? Yeah. And let me see something. Maybe a little bit taller. I'm going to move his egg head up. Just like that. There. Move his egg head up, put a line down so I know how his body is going to be sitting. Then his tortoise shell, which is basically, he is just a rectangle on the bottom. Egghead, rectangle. Line down the middle, which we'll use later. Draw his neck. Just a curved line. Back of his neck, another curved line. And then I think maybe we want to expand a little bit. I need to expand on my turtle shell anyway. Just a bit. Just a wee bit. So I just made it a little bit larger. I'm going to make a line for his arm. One of his arms, his right arm, and his left arm. He doesn't wave his arms around so much when people are talking or he's talking. He tends to stay quiet. Now I'm drawing his legs, which are not going to go any lower than this because he's sitting on the ground. Okay. We're going to try not to make them any lower than that. His legs are crossed, so I'm making 2 rectangles. hope I'm not going too fast, and I apologize. We just have a lot of work to do. So you can pause this at any point. There we go. 2 rounded rectangles. So he's got an egghead, rectangle, 2 thin rectangles, 2 lines for his arms. And I just readjusted his tortoise shell, so it would be or turtle shell, so it would be a little bit bigger. I'm going to put his eye in. He's kind of looking up. Not sure which character he's looking at, but he's looking up. And I'm going to bring a line down to his nose. I think I want to erase a little bit of that egg shape, lift it up a little bit, and do his jawline. Okay? We're going to tackle the one that I'm most worried about, or the 2 that I'm most worried about right now. I don't want to get them wrong. We're going to tackle Jimmy, who we did in our last video. Come here, buddy. We did Jimmy. Take this off. Oops. Here we go. Okay, we tackled him. I think we did a really good job the last time. So let's make sure we do a good job this time too. I'm going to take my reference material, because I've drawn Jimmy many, many times. Sometimes he comes out really well, and then other times he doesn't. So let's take him. You want him looking down a little bit. Okay, I don't have anything that will show me, will be my guide. But we're going to draw almost a circle, but not quite. A little bit of an oval. We're going to draw a second oval. Sorry, we need that line to tell us where he's looking, like the axis in the earth. Then we're drawing an oval here. So we've got a circle, sort of, and an oval. We may have to lift up that oval a little bit because he's young. So his head is going to be, his forehead rather, is going to be large. He's kind of down and looking up just a tad at Bugsy, who will be right here. But let's continue with Jimmy. We're going to draw, I think what I need to do to get my footing in this is to find his nose, which is going to be a rectangle. We may have to reshape him. He is the most frustrating one for me, but I keep trying. I'm just always afraid of getting it not wrong, but not feeling right. Okay, I like to put his eyes right on top of this oval. Right on top of the oval. And then his mouth is usually the bottom of that circle. Let's see how that works though. Now this is not, he's not going to look good. He's going to look very ugly right now. It's a raw picture. We haven't refined it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of fixing as we go along. So I actually just drew 2 straight lines that aren't going to work. So I want 2 curved lines coming up. Looks a little like Homer Simpson right now. That's unfortunate. I think I want to pull this line in just a little bit. I actually want to pull his, I'm erasing his mouth, and I'm pulling that egg shape up just a bit. It was too long. It wasn't right. It didn't feel comfortable or right. Neither does his nose. Okay, we're getting closer to him now. Pause if you need to copy, okay? Pause if you need a minute. I'm going to pull up his arm, and then his hair goes up here, and he's got really cool curly hair. Right, now let's tackle Bugsy. And again, he is probably one of the ones, that I really sweat about. Where's my reference one? I put everything away. Okay, we're going to give it a go. Let's draw a circle for Bugsy's head. Okay. Jimmy's going to have his arm around him. Let's draw a circle for Bugsy's head. I want to tackle... He's kind of looking up, so I'm trying to find that line that will indicate he's kind of looking up. Okay. I'm going to put his eye right over here, right down below. Let's see. Let me see. Both he and Jimmy are going to take recalibration. I never seem to get them right the first time. I'm going to put in, there's his eye. I put in Bugsy's nose, putting in a cheekbone. We never get it right the first time, and that is quite all right. Having a line come down like this, there's his eye socket, there's his cheek, there's the top, there's his forehead, and the top of his head where hair will be coming out. Let's add a couple of ears. Like that. Just squiggly lines will work, just something to give us an idea when we pull out our pen. But I've got kind of a cockeyed rectangle over here. And then some weird shape over there. I don't know. But Bugsy's mouth is going to come down off the nose. So let me show you the line. His mouth is going to come down like that. And it's going to be a little bit of a puffy cheek right there. A little bit of our puffy lip. Puffy lip, puffy cheek, puffy mustache thing. We've got a U, slight U, and a slight U. And then his chin. Just going to come down like that. It's kind of like an L in Tetris. There we go. Not too bad. Pretty reasonably happy with that. His head is pretty large compared to Jimmy's head, but it's okay. This is all pretend anyway. This is all for pretend. Okay, so we'll go back to, let's draw a line down below so we know where everybody kind of is. Draw the back of Bugsy. Is a curved line, front line for his front paw, his front right paw. Should be up a little bit. His front right paw is right above that line. Left back paw, excuse me, front, right back paw, left back paw. And his tail. A line, just a line for his tail. That's all we're going to do right now. And let's give him a paw that's up like this. In fact, why don't we do two paws? Those two paws will be open-ended triangles. So he's up like this while he and Jimmy are just loving each other. We have to draw Jimmy's leg. Or do we want Jimmy to have... What if Jimmy had crossed legs, just like Max? just to make things easier. Why do we do that? So just like Max, 2 lines coming down, a rounded top. There's his left leg. I'm going to do that. I'm going to draw a line right there because he has a cuff in his pants. Another line right there for the cuff in his pants. His foot. We're going to make 2 lines that are thinner than his pants for his ankle. How are we going to do his foot? Let's see. There we go. All right, I want you to look at the shape I just drew. There are 2 skinny lines for his ankle. I drew his foot in this direction. A line there, just a line. Circle for his big toe, line coming down that way. All right, that'll work. And let's put his hand on his knee as well. So there's his arm, his right shoulder down to the edge of the sleeve of his t-shirt, his arm, and his hand is just going to be that half circle. Okay, that's all we need. And we're good. Why don't we tackle the tough guys first? We're going to tackle Jimmy first. Let's take our pen. I like to start with his eyes. Oh, you know what I forgot? Ears. He has ears. So the top of his ear will basically be the same height as his eye. The top of his ear will be the same height as his eye. The bottom of his ear could be the same height of his eye as well, or the bottom of his nose. Whatever feels most comfortable to you. Doesn't really have big ears. I'm going to do that. Let me see some. I'm readjusting his jaw on the right hand side because I'm not comfortable with it. I'm just kind of pulling it out a little bit with his ear. Pull the side of his head out also. So I'm going to grab my pen again, and I'm going to draw this side of his head, which is pretty much just a curved line. I'm going to draw the left side of his head, another curved line. I'm going to draw his ear, which goes just like that, the other ear. Let me see his cheek. And his cheek is a series of lines. Coming down to his cheek is a series of lines. That little curve in, a line out, coming out just a tad, line underneath. Line down, another line coming out a little bit, meeting up with these lines. I'm going to draw his nose, but I want to use the little pen. His nose is a rectangle. It's a little bit wide. And then his mouth. I'm going to go back to the larger pen. And he has very full lips. So when I'm drawing around them, there's the line for the mouth. But when I'm drawing his lips, I like to take my thin pen and do this. And it is basically a oval. Widen that out. There we go. Just like that. He has full lips, but I don't want to do it with the dark marker. I just like to kind of do dots and dashes. I want to fill in his eyes, which are just a series of lines, and that way he doesn't look creepy. There we go. They're just lines, like we did in the bush. Now I'm going to do the top of his head. He's got super curly hair. So it's just squiggly lines like on the bush. That's all it is. And it's just on the top. He likes to keep, or his mom likes to keep his head shaved, or his parent likes to keep the sides of his head shaved, so it's just the top. There's his shoulder, his left shoulder. I'm going to draw his right shoulder. Curved line coming down. T-shirt, sleeve, arm, hand. I gotta say, he's coming out pretty good. I hope yours is too. I'm going to tackle his right leg, which is 2 lines. And a curved line for the knee. There. He's got his pants rolled up a little bit, so there's the cuff. I'm going to tackle his his foot. Curved line, circle, bottom of the foot, pinky toe. Look at that, I'm so excited. We tackled the hardest one, or the hardest one for me first. And he is not too shabby. He's also got, he's wearing a t-shirt, so we want to indicate the bottom of the t-shirt. That's a little high, but I'm going to stick with it. There. That's it. Moving on to Bugsy. Remember, you don't have to stick with anything that you originally did. If you feel you need to change it, you just change it. I'm going to do the top of his head. And I don't want to forget, he's got fur. Okay. So I did top of his head, top of his forehead, the line down for the socket. His nose, although I drew it as a rectangle, is really a triangle, so it'll go like that. Okay. His mouth, 2 lines down, curved line, curved line. Bottom of his jaw. I'm just going to draw that with dots because that's all fuzzy. And his jawline. Right over there. Tackle his ears. And this is all hair. This is just fur. So I'm using dots and dashes and some lines. Okay. Same thing on his left ear. Dots and dashes and some lines. Not too shabby. Okay, the back, his back. He is a lot bigger than Jimmy. There we are. And his tail, and that is, his tail is all fur. It's all hair. So that's how I indicate the tail. Just fur kind of sticking out. His left leg, or his left back paw. Boink, boink, boink. His right back paw. And how they're sitting down, and we could get really complicated about this area, but I just draw it as a curved line, and I don't worry. Here we go. Okay. So we've got left back leg, paw, that area, right leg, right paw, up to kind of the tummy area, or actually the haunch, or something. Whatever that is on the dog. And I think we will make these into, his front paws into more of a egg shape. Let's see what happens. Just like that. How's that? We need his shoulder. There we go. Let's draw in his eye. Again, just lines. His nose. Just lines. There's Bugsy. Okay. Let's go over to Joel now. Max, drawing his eye. I'm just going to cheat and do his cheekbone. I'm going to do his chin from his nose down, front of his neck, back of his head, back of his neck. His little nose, which is just a little line like that. The bridge of his nose, top of his head. Let's draw his clavicle, where his shell is. If you feel your collarbone, that's your clavicle. It dips in the middle. There's a little bone there. Draw the rest of his shell, just kind of curved, like that. We've got the center of his shell, which is a line. Okay. And his arms. Just two curved lines. Honestly, I apologize if I'm going fast. His legs. Rectangles with two curved lines at the ends for his knee and his foot. His left leg, two lines and a curved line. Oop. Oh, it's raining again. It's been raining for days. Let's fill in his eye, shall we? Take our skinny pen. Just draw some lines. And there we go. I'm going to erase a little bit before I move on. Ooh! Sorry about that, guys. Got a lot of lines in here. Bugsy has a very large head today. I want to draw the little bit more definition on his ear. So I'm just going to do a line down like that. Okay. And where's the other guys? All right, Joel, we're going to start with you. Joel's eye, his forehead, down to the bridge of his nose, down to his nose, and his cheek. I'm going to tackle his hat, which can be round, it can have lines in it. Squaring it off, you can do what you want. I think I'm going to draw a second line for, because he keeps his hat rolled up, so I just drew a second line underneath. You don't have to. I'm going to draw his one of his ears, his left ear, and his right ear. And that line as well. I'm going to draw his left shoulder coming over to Dixie, his right shoulder coming down, his hand, or his paw. It's going to sit on his knee. And he's furry too. So you can do dots and dashes indicating fur. His tail we'll tackle in a minute. Let's grab our skinny pen. Do his glasses. Just like that. And fill in his eye with lines. As I rolled up his hat, I'm going to make lines for that roll. And then, let me see his ear. I'm just going to draw the inside of his ear. Okay? Alright, his tail. Squirrels' tails tend to be fluffy, so I'm drawing a second set of lines around the original line. I drew a second set right up there. And another one coming out like that. Right? And this is not an easy one for me either. I tend to not do as well as I would like. Let's see what happens today. We're having reasonably good luck. it's going to be dots and dashes and lines, because it's all fur. Look at a squirrel's tail, phew, it's all fur. Let's see how we do. Just like the bushes, I don't want you to think too much. I don't want you to worry. I just want you to draw. Not bad. Let's move on to Dixie. Boy, like Bugsy, Dixie's a big bird today. His eye. His glasses, which don't have to be a perfect circle. They could be dots and dashes. I'm going to draw his, the arm of his glasses, the top of his head. Okay. The little feather coming up. Front of his face, coming down to those two rectangles we have right there. His chin. And his beak, the two rectangles. I'm going to get Joel's hand in there, or his paw. There's his paw. And Bugsy's body. Just a little on the big side today. Dixie's been eating cookies. Maybe Bugsy and Dixie have been eating cookies together. His wing. There we go. Okay. So we got his tail, his wing, and his rather robust body. Let's go on, move on to Jack. We've got to figure out Jack's ears. Jack's ears are just like the leaves that we've made several times now. They're just two bent lines, two curved lines. The line in the middle, two curved lines. I'm going to get his eye first, and let's not forget, he's a little angry today. He's not in a good mood. So we've got a line down there indicating his anger. His eyebrow is coming down. Top of his head. And I'm going to do dots and dashes for the top of his head, indicating fur. His forehead. His eye socket down to his nose. His eye socket down to his nose is a curved line. His nose. His cheek. I'm putting a second line for his nose so it's a little darker, not as ambiguous. Now we're drawing the sleeve of his sweatshirt. Just his arm coming down to the cuff and his paw. His little paw. Drawing his ears, once again, two curved lines. Ooh, it's starting to really rain again. His right ear. Okay, now I want to draw, I'm going to indicate that this is the inside of his ear. So we're going to almost follow that center line, but not quite. And do a little loop. Just like that. So that indicates the center of his ear. All right, let's get Dixie and Jack's eyes filled in. This reminds me at family get-togethers. Everyone would be laughing and I'd be so angry. Things would be said that weren't very nice. And I would just get mad. That's not happening here. Jack has something in his head that is unresolved. And maybe he's just thinking about it. He's thinking about something that has nothing to do with the rest of the group. They are there, and they are there for him. Why are you wiggling? Sorry, the camera's wiggling. They don't take it personally. They're there when he needs them. They'll listen, they'll support, and they will try to resolve. Okay, we got our guys. Let's get our scissors. Let's get our bushes and our scissors. Just start cutting them out. Not cutting right on the line, giving it a little bit of space. We're not worried about, just like our lines, we're not worried about cutting a perfect circle, cutting a perfect straight line. The beauty for me is in the imperfections and the unevenness of the cuts and the lines. That's how you can see the person who made this. We're not machines. We don't get things right the first time, the 50th time. And sometimes not getting it right is right. Great for us. How are we doing for time? Ooh. You know what? We're almost out of time. So I'm going to stop this in a sec and we'll finish it in a second video. How's that? I just drew a line showing the bottom of these figures. You've got a lot of work done. And I tried to move quickly. But we've been here for almost an hour. So why don't we split this up? Stop. Ah! Yeah. Okay, we're going to stop right there. And we'll come back and finish, okay? This is where we are so far. We've got these guys. And then we're going to put in these guys. All right, and we'll do a little bit extra work too. This will be fun. All right, see you in the next video, okay? Ciao.